Recording is on.
Hi there, this is Bitcoin Core App Design call number 39. Gerald was just asking about how much we appreciate his banners here, which you can see in my background. Okay, everyone, how much do you appreciate? Or do you like it? Do you not like it? What emotions does it evoke in you?
Very artistic.
Is that AI art?
No, I made it.
You made it. Did you draw that?
No, I'm joking. No, it's AI art.
Yeah.
All the banners are AI art.
Cool. Oh, it's a bit out.
Oh, we lost Mo. She
Just
couldn't
blown away by
handle.
art.
She couldn't handle it.
The AI got insulted and dropped her out.
Okay,
You
Mo,
got too excited, Mo.
I literally threw myself off the Jitsi call wanting to see the art. So I'm back again. Oh, John's has become Joins now.
Okay, so let's hop in. I did not update this here yet because I was at the conference and I'm still catching up with things today. Since our last call on last Thursday, there was some discussions on Figma about the button states. I think Jakob went through and applied some of the design decisions that we made in the last call. I thought it was great. Then there was also discussion around some little more behind the scenes stuff about how we organize components in Figma itself, kind of just designer tool talk. Not sure how important, relevant that is to discuss for everyone. Yeah, anything else? Gerald, did you catch up with those calls? Or, I mean, the last call we literally just talked about, interactive states. Like if you click something, should it be orange or purple?
So I haven't caught up on the call, but I've been looking at the Figma file, and I started implementing those states based on what's there.
Okay. So that's this beast here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so with this, it's I'm thinking of adding this to sort of the theme. And so we have this like theme file, and for a button, it can get its current color and state from this theme depending on what action has been done. And so I think also that applies to other buttons. But for now, I think the only button we really want to do this to is the continue button, right?
That should all be standard. You're just talking about color change.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that should apply to everything, right?
Color change, but also the technically if you go back to the different states, when you have the this purple outline, that is still a new background. So it would be a background with the orange color, but with a border that's purple and has a certain width. And so the background changes with that. I think so that would make it easiest to implement if we're just changing the background. And so that's why I'm saying that it would be a new background.
Okay, it seems like I don't quite get it. It seems to be something about how QML works with rendering backgrounds and whatnot. But you would have the same effect here, right? It's just how you would implement it.
Yeah, it's. I think maybe it's a terminology. So this button, for it to have any sort of color, it's a background. That's just what it is. Yeah. It's a rectangle background. Yeah. Okay. And so then this rectangle needs to be. So it'll have an orange rectangle, and that rectangle will have a border that's purple, as shown here.
And you would still have the 2-pixel outline here.
Yeah, padding. Yeah.
Padding. Okay. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. It seems like the corner radius here is not accurate. Yeah, see how these two curves don't match up? I need to tweak that. Yeah, cool. Okay, that sounds good. Then we have the colors here. And then we also discussed input fields, which I do not see here yet, something we also have to do. But okay, how's everything else coming with
Yeah,
project?
I've been doing the proxy screens, and then also experimenting with this sort of file handler, and I have a branch that opens up the system file picker for now.
Yeah.
So we can play around with that when I open it, and then with that, maybe you guys can sort of think about some designs for it. So you see the file picker, and you sort of think about kind of, well, what do we want it to sort of look like, and then we can build off that.
Okay, and you're not talking about the window that opens itself. That will always be provided by the operating system. It's really just how we trigger that.
Yeah, so the system file picker is an operating system window, right? So
Yeah.
it'll look completely independent from the GUI, and it'll be a new window, unless we don't want it to.
No, I think it's a good thing to just keep
Okay.
that native. Okay. Okay. Any PRs we need to review or so? So I'm blanking a little bit, just a million things today. Going back and forth between.
For now, we're good. I think Habasa just needs to merge a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I need to open a couple of them. And then, well, actually, that's a good point. We have to add documentation to the docs website. And so I replied a bit on Slack in when you asked the question. Maybe you saw those messages. So I think I can do a good job of packaging this up and opening a PR in the docs repo with sort of what's necessary, and then we can review that. But I have a question. Do you think we need to put translation information on the docs website? I mean, maybe it's a little useful, but I think maybe it's a little sort of off to what we want to do. It's sort of design into development.
Okay, I'm just grabbing the link here real quick. I'm going to share it in the chat. So I had asked about links to other types of documentation, because the design docs at bitcoincore.app, that's just for designers. But we talked about cross-linking things. So it could say, hey, you're looking for translated docs, here you go. You're looking for, you're a developer, you want to contribute code, here you go. So that was my starting point for this, where we really just cross-link everything. Like, could be the developer documentation could say, hey, you want to do design contributions, read up how to over here on this link or so. So I don't think we need to, embed content in all of these places, but we should cross-link.
Yeah, I think not treating it as like developer. It's like, if you want to contribute and you're on these docs, if you're contributing to the repo, really you're contributing code, even if it's changing like a color in a QML file. And so these things I linked, like contributing.md, build docs if they want to build on their own, and instructions on how to access the CI artifact would be good. And I can write a little something and open a PR.
Okay, so it's more task specific, not grouping by job profession or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, like you don't have to be a developer. You can be anyone. You're just going to contribute. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just wondering, onto the documentation one, with the information architecture of the designer's website. I'm just trying to pull up that. Is it this one? Figma file. I kind of did a bit of an exploration around the navigation. I think I linked it in the.
Yes.
I linked it in the core group. Yeah, here it is. I'll just pull it up on my screen.
Wait, so what are we looking at?
Oh, so this is, yeah, Christoph has, yeah, go ahead, Christoph. I'll stop sharing. Yeah.
Okay. So this is something you posted on August 31st. I'll post the link here real quick in the chat. You said that you were looking at how just the sidebar navigation in a way is how the pages are structured, and just grouping things, how logically everything fits together, right? But you let me know. Like, you talk about this. This is your thing. I don't want to misrepresent.
No, but you said it correctly. I mean, it's pretty much, let me just pull it up on my screen. So I'm now here in the file. So I pretty much just went to the designer's documentation website, and I kind of just looked at the navigation of what we already have. And then we have, Bitcoin Core app, we have introduction, roadmap, principles, colors, typography. I thought as a general note, I like how it is in the Bitcoin design guide. When you click on an actual tab, it highlights in orange, indicating that you're actually on that particular part of the website. It's just like a small thing. And then I just went about just basically grouping stuff. I know in the introduction, we have the website, the design repo, the Figma file. So that's already all in there. And then we have the roadmap. And then I created a new one, and I called it Design System. And I actually grouped a couple of things under the design system. I grouped colors there, typography, icons, and layout. And then the block clock, I also grouped it underneath the design system. I couldn't quite find a place for accessibility, so I just left it on its own. And then for the wallet, I created a new one called Wallet. And then I created underneath that as a submenu would be first use wallet. And then Node Runner was another heading that I created. And then underneath that, I put Explorer and Console. I'm not quite sure if Node Runner is the right heading to use there, but it was just basically just grouping stuff, trying to reduce the number of choices that users have when they see that. Not sure how many people actually would visit this, but you never know. So yeah, just had some fun with that.
Why do you want to reduce the number of choices people have?
Because when you reduce the number of choices that users have, they make decisions faster. I want to help people make decisions faster when they're looking at the navigation.
Okay, I could keep asking here, what type of decisions?
Sorry?
What type of decisions?
What do they want to look at? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? Do you want to design something? You go straight to the design system. If you want to know how to contribute, you go straight there. I want them to just look at the menu and be super quick with making a decision.
It does make sense to have a sort of design system, because I think that clearly illustrates what those tabs are. They're explicitly documenting the design system, like with colors and how that works. I think that's good. Yeah. To have at least one more tab that says design system and put that under there. Looking at the design guide, you have introduction, getting started, and so you go through that. But if you just want to go through reference designs, then that's clearly labeled, and then you just click on those. And I think a lot of people will look at the website once it's done.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I also agree. Header-like design system makes sense. We might have a header like, maybe not Wallet Node Runner, but version 1 and version 2, because they'll be pretty distinct. We're doing distinct design for them. And under there might be subpages like first use for version 1 might be different from first use of version 2. Block log fits both, kind of. We'll have to figure that one out. But yeah, it makes sense. For this type of things, I always like to use the least amount of structure needed. I think a lot of documentation that I've seen, they just install Docusaurus or something where they get like 15 nested layers with all kinds of little arrows and sub arrows and a navigation on the left and a sub navigation on the right and a search on the top. It's like 15 other things. It's total overkill. So I don't think we need all of that stuff, but we can slowly work towards the stuff that we need. So yeah, we need some stuff there. But we also need to create the content for it. Like sometimes it's good to just create the content, and when it bursts out of its seams, then you figure out what the right thing is.
Yeah, I just like
the
this kind of
thing to
stuff.
do.
So you know, this is fun for me. This is literally fun. So,
But Mo, thanks for laying this out, because that makes us think about it better, right? So this clearly illustrates why we should at least have design system.
yeah.
I think icons and illustrations can be one thing. We only have 3 illustrations right now. Icons just links up Bitcoin icon set. That can be just one thing that's created. Accessibility is very generic. The content right now, that could also be merged in potentially somewhere else. It's more like a principal thing potentially, unless the content becomes more specific. Yeah, so it's all. We'll come back to all of those things. What do you want to do next with it? What would you like to do?
I've added in some notes here that you said icons and illustrations becomes one. I don't think I've actually included illustrations there in the design system. Or did I? No, I didn't. I only have colors, typography, icons, and layout. So illustrations needs to be included under the design system.
Yeah. So we have to figure out what needs to go in icons. Right now we say, well, we just use the icon set, very simple. But we could also be more content about how we use icons in the application, what purposes, where we try to avoid them, what sizes, whatnot. Similar thing with illustrations. We could come up with illustration guidelines. It just depends. So far, there's been very minimal illustration work, really just those handful of ones that were needed. And it wasn't a really thorough process either. I just tried to come up with something. But so I think as the content grows, maybe we'll have some amazing illustrators join, and it's just going to be 50-page subsection, which would be super cool.
Christoph, is it an idea to add in when we've concluded it, the activated states? Is that maybe an idea to also add in, I'm not sure, as a different tab under design system?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very common thing in design system documentation. A lot of them have these subpages for input fields and buttons and drop downs and modals and all kinds of stuff. You can definitely put all of that in there and go all crazy. Like some documentation that gets really intense. Michael, you work a lot with design systems, right? You know how detailed some of those can get.
Yeah, it's it's helpful to have them to at least say how a component should behave, right? And so have a little bit more free-form thing. So in previous work, we had to do that because not all, let's say, A, not all designers, and B, not all developers that would touch those components or use them would have this context. But we try to keep it pretty short. But yeah, it helps. I mean, especially for input fields where you have, I don't know if you have to format your input in some shape or form, or want to use masking so that it's clear what type of input you're entering without the user having to do anything or tab through. Then it's helpful to have kind of a more, also, let's say, a verbal description and maybe a video with it. So that kind of makes it a little bit, would help. And actually I had a question about the block clock. I mean, that's one component inside the design system, right?
Yeah, it's a component
in the application, yeah.
Because it's the other things, the colors, typography, icons, these things are kind of, the block clock for me doesn't fit on the same level
as the design system. Yeah, I was a bit hesitant to put that one underneath the design system because I was also feeling like the block clock has been a unique concept created for the actual, for the GUI. So I feel it should almost have its own place, because it really is something that's been unique. But then I kind of threw it in under design system because I was like, reduce the choices, But yeah, curious to hear your thoughts on that because it is a unique concept that was designed by Christoph. So I I feel it needs to kind of shine on its own because it really makes the interface what it is. It's almost like that unique branding thing in the interface. So
It's definitely the most sort of unique component. It's the most sort of out there component based. Other components are things like the continue button, right? But
Yeah.
the block clock, there's so many. There's so much information behind its states and why it's designed like that, why it looks like this, the colors, and so in that sense, I feel like it's special, and I think it should have its own section.
yeah,
Because there's so much to display about it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I also like it. I like it a lot. I just it felt kind of weird in the grouping.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I could see
Which
that.
one? The one here, the current on the website, or the one here in this?
The
Tree.
one here in the
Okay.
in FigJam.
In the design system. So putting block clock in design system, instead take block clock out of design system and put it on its own, let it stand on its own.
You know, I mean, to be honest, I just wouldn't worry about too much the structure right now because with version 2 with the wallet, we're gonna slowly, step by step, and even a lot of pages are in here. I just quickly exported stuff and wrote text and created those pages because I just wanted it to be on the website. Right? It's not necessarily there's nothing deep and crazy behind it, right? And it will be a big construction site for a long time until we actually work through all of these pages, all of these sections and subsections, and the proxy settings, and the send, and the multi-sig send, and the external signer wallet creation, and all of this stuff. It's just going to be all over the place for a while now as we're progressing through things. Yeah, and we'll have to restructure a lot of things. But yeah, I'd love. It'd be awesome if if you see something you want to change in the docs, just make a issue or pull request or so, or just let me know and we can get that change in. It'd be super cool.
While we're on this sort of talking about things sent on Slack, I did have a question about Michael. You sent this message on these helper components. Are these for working on Figma, or are these for anything related to that would go in the GUI?
Oh, it was just helper stuff for designers. For instance, if you have these, hover states in the design, it helps if you have a cursor that is over the button so that it's clear that somebody is hovering the button. It's designer stuff.
Oh,
So it's, sorry.
Yeah, just little helper tools that you come across. Yeah.
Exactly, these kinds of things. I mean, these are native to the OS, right? So it's just to be used in the Figma screen.
I do like those little helper components. When I was doing the branding research for Bolt Fun, I came across a website that had those helper components. As your mouse is on the screen, it's showing you where your mouse is moving. Is this kind of the intention behind these? So you kind of see that on the screen as you're moving, or am I not understanding it?
No, it's just if you have a button in Figma on the screen, you can put this little component on it so that in Figma it looks as if somebody was hovering on the button. So it's not anything interactive. It's just something to help illustrate states. Because if you have an entire screen in Figma, then only somebody. I mean, if you hover, sometimes you have a tooltip, right, that pops up that says this icon has. And I didn't do a lot of design, but maybe I can share my screen to show what I mean.
Where's this example?
But it's not. It's really not that important.
No, it's like here. oh, somebody clicked this button. That's why this thing. That's why this drop down's open, expanded.
Yeah, those are nice. Those are very nice.
Okay. If I may, well, Michael, you wanted to show something?
No, you were faster.
Yeah, I just wanted to step a moment away from this stuff and just connect back to the wallet work. So we've done this, at least you're gonna have to help me because I only remember half of everything today. So we have explorations on the send flow today here, which was multi-sig and single sig. Then we have explorations for creating wallet. Then we tuned that turn. So this is potentially all types of wallets, even ones we will not support for the first version. Then we stripped it down to creating wallets which were single sig, multi-sig, and you only, I think. And then Mo and I think it was two of us, we had an extra session where we went through and fleshed out the single sig wallet creation flow a little bit further. And we had discussions around the send flow as well. And I think Jakob did some explorations, Gene did some explorations. So we should kind of figure out how we can move all of this stuff forward, what we want to do next. Gerald, did you have any thoughts in terms of priorities on, you said you threw out, for example, I want to do proxy screen, and then, okay, we're designing proxy setting screen. What do you think could be the next priority in short term, mid-term, or longer term?
Yeah, so for me, finishing out those screens, but with the wallet, getting down that onboarding process. Sorry, I'm also a little behind sort of on the progress there, but that progress of wallet creation and making sure that a user chooses the sort of the correct thing that they want to do, and explaining and if they're keeping keys on the device, eloquently explaining to them that they should encrypt it with a password. And also things like backup reminders, because if with the Bitcoin Core wallet, if you're keeping keys on the device and that sort of, let's say the directory it's on gets deleted, then your funds are gone and there's no way to recover it. There's no 12-word recovery phrases. So backups and reminding them of backups maybe after a wallet has been funded is critical for a user. But then besides that, I'd love to get ProMag to sort of explain some priorities there. And I'm going to hop on a call with him afterwards. But I'll talk with him about this and try to get him to send maybe some things that are important in Slack, and see how we can move that forward.
Okay. So you were thinking to start from the very beginning of the user experience and work. So initial onboarding, once the application has a node and a wallet, how that will change. And then part of that is creating a wallet.
Yeah.
And it seems like the security reminders, that's something to tackle later. And then even within wallet creation, we split it up in, maybe we don't allow multi-sig right away or something. The complexity or technical stuff, whatever it may be. It would be great here. There is a point where we need as a whole group to discuss things. For example, these two steps here. If after you created your wallet, if we ask you to practice the backup, delete it, re-import it, if we ask you to make a test transaction before, for potentially these could also be nice to have, so they could be version 2.1 or whatever it is. Like we do a more minimal version first, and then we add these other things to them. I think that's something we should discuss as a group. And then once we have that, and maybe an understanding of some of the technical intricacies, then I think we'll be able to wrap up these flows. But I do think it will require a bit more iteration together with everyone.
Okay. Another thing that's important is a watch-only wallet, because with the watch-only wallet, technically you could have an external signer. It's just that you're interfacing with it through the PSBT, so the partially signed binary transaction, and then you're going to sign that on the device. And so another thing not to forget is that watch only, because a lot of people do use that to interface with their hardware wallet.
But isn't that, I mean, so there's a watch only, which you could technically import just one address if you just wanted to watch one address, right? And then you can technically, or you could import an XBUF, or you could purely interface with, and then you can't do anything, right?
Yeah, it's really intricate. It does get complicated. Yeah.
And there was something here around, this is a view-only wallet. You cannot initiate or confirm transaction to enable sending, connect an external sign, or import a private key. This type of stuff that we have to talk through if that's something we want to do right away or later, and what technical options there are. And then external signer, we also have to figure out if we're still asking people to install this Python script or other options there. So yeah, that would be amazing to quickly go through the technical side of how this works, take notes, and then we can use that as a design foundation.
100%. I've already written down here, watch only wallet, you could use an external signer.
Yeah, you're kind of converting it. That's how Blue Wallet does it too. You can set up view only wallet, and then if you try to press send, it says, well, you can't right now. You need to convert it to this other wallet or connect a signer or whatnot. Gerald, that's what you're thinking, right? Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely should have a call where we go through the technicals. But it gets really technical, and one of the things is this area with the wallet model. It gets so. I'm just telling you, it'll get so deeply technical. It'll be a long call, but we should do that. I think you guys should have some context behind it. Yeah.
Because it also avoids Christoph and I spending like 1 hour trying to answer one question.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Super useful.
Yeah. And we can always, we don't have to go into all the technical stuff. It's more like, we can surface it pretty quickly. We don't have to understand how the signing in detail works and whatnot, just kind of the rough stuff, at least at the beginning. And then I'm sure we'll have to go a little bit deeper. But otherwise, we're kind of stuck kind of imagining things right now.
Yeah.
So should we use Wednesday or Thursday's calls for these types of things?
I think for next Wednesday, we are going to have a lot to talk about with the proxy screens and a couple of other things that will be opened up. But in general, let's say one Wednesday is going to be slow, like this one's kind of slow, then we could sort of plan out, okay, so with this one, we'll go deep through the wallet model and how that works. Now, your Thursday calls, they're still at 9 UTC?
Yeah, but we can move them too.
So for example, tomorrow, if we could move it to 11 UTC, then I could make it and we can have a conversation on that.
11 UTC, let me see.
11 UTC, which is...
That's 1 hour European time.
Was that 1 hour time?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, that's okay for me as well.
Yep.
Michael, does that work?
Perfect.
Okay, yeah. Then tomorrow we can start going through the wallet internals and explain the differences between this and how this works internally, what we can do in the GUI.
Okay, yeah, and I think, create wallet and send wallet are kind of connected at the hip. All of this, because what type of wallet you create, that defines how the send flow will go. Yeah, we don't have to go into all the stuff around exact fee differences for batch multi-sig transactions or so, but just the general stuff would be helpful.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's 1 o'clock tomorrow in our time. German at each time.
Yeah, I can update the. I might actually have to still create that issue.
Yeah, it wasn't showing up in my calendar. I've just added a new event.
That's weird because I haven't created it yet.
One thing you guys should know is, of course, the GUI can be compiled without wallet support, and so there will never be an option to create a wallet. So it'll only be a node runner, and so maybe that has some design considerations for you guys.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah.
So yeah, the GUI, it can be compiled without wallet support. So there will never be an option to create a wallet if it was compiled like that, and so that means a different user interface, right? It will only ever be a node runner.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So we have to also design the top level navigation in a way that all the wallet stuff can be removed, and the user will never know.
Yeah, so that's just some simple, like, if wallet defined, then certain things are open. And so technically it's not hard. It's just to sort of think about with the design, what that might look like. Yeah.
Okay, I will set up the call then right after this one, create the call issue. Yeah, I think that's the big stuff. To start narrowing in on that wallet interface.
I'm going to open up the Figma, but it seems like we have a lot of the conceptual work down, and the sort of everything doesn't have to be perfect with the wallet in terms of you guys crafting the design, because it just kind of gets filled in when we are actually implementing it. And when we get to implementing it, then we continue to iterate on the design. But looking at the work that's been done with the wallet, it seems like a lot of good work has already been done with that.
And the texting is final, I see.
Yeah, your wallet is ready.
100%.
I mean, maybe it looks more complete than it is, but this is really just because we have established component set and layout rules. This is just pasting in, like duplicating the same page 20 times and putting
changing.
in blah blah blah. So
okay,
it is not very advanced at all. There's a lot of small stuff.
Especially the Vue Wallet one and the multi-sig 2 of 3. Those are not, and it also feels like, as Christoph mentioned, we have a lot of design explorations for the signing with multi-keys. So we have from Gene, and we have from I think from Jakob as well. So I'm just wondering how we kind of consolidate those designs and maybe try to think of one.
Yeah. So, I think this will become pretty clear once we actually work through the details of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we get to it, I think we'll have a pretty clear. We'll know what this should look like, because we already kind of led people through the multi-sig wallet creation, which will also be similar. Ideally reuse any graphics we introduced later during the signing. So yeah, just I think a good design process will guide us towards the right solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So basically, what we're using now for the single sig signing, we will just bring that into the multi-sig signing design, if I understand correctly. Try to make those designs connected.
Well, I have to refresh on the wallet code again, but for example, this screen here might not be possible to represent a progress. But I'll get back to you guys on that. I have to look over the code again.
So this was kind of a loose exploration by Gene, and there are definitely things that have to be. There's so much complexity in what the screen can potentially be. So, for example, what if it's 2 of 2 or 2 of 5? What is it? 3 of 7? Can you fit 7 things in there? What if it's other people but not devices? Then there's no sense of progress, right? Because you can't know if, like, you create a PSBT, you send it to someone else, then you
Yeah.
have no idea. You cannot know, how many other people have signed unless they tell you in person.
Mhm.
Somehow. There's no sense of progress. So there's all kinds of stuff here. So this is a good exploration to have,
Mhm.
which I don't really know which one. Maybe you know. I don't know which one. Where we'll end up at. We'll just have to work through all those complexities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
do like this, just from firsthand looking at it. If it's possible, some sort of progress would be nice, because multi-sig is complicated to accomplish. And if you have some assurance, like, okay, step 1 was done, step 2, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, I think Nunchuck does it, like they show progress, but I'm not sure what. So I played around with it, and they tell you how many people already signed. I think I did it like a month ago or 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'll play around with that. I'll see how they're doing it. But I wonder if those are all keys that you control. Is it collaborative, like with other individuals, and they show progress?
I believe Nunchuck also has their own peer-to-peer communication thing that
Right.
allows for simplification of this stuff, where the applications could potentially exchange information about the process, which Bitcoin Core does not have.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense.
But yeah, I think once we lay out I think it's really great in the design process to do all these explorations and have them, and then attack it from another angle and start from the beginning, and then you'll see which pieces fit in which way, fit together in which way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what we'll have to do. Okay, and tomorrow we can start. Should we start with just wallet creation tomorrow, and then see if we can make it through to send if we're quick?
Yeah.
And so for tomorrow, I guess I'll be there, and you kind of want. Do you want me to guide you through how it works, or as we go through the design, if you have questions, then I'll be there to answer internal questions on it?
I mean, I would go through the user experience.
Okay.
I'm in the UI. I want to create a wallet. What do I see? What options do we have? And then not spend an hour on the screen, but 5 minutes, just rough it in. And then, okay, I click this one. Okay, what do I see? What's the purpose of the screen in the user experience? Fill it roughly in. Then, what options do we have in the name and password? Does that work? But really just kind of spend 5 minutes or so on each of those screens, and just trying to get the main bits and pieces in. And if we document those, then we should be able to go off by ourselves a little bit, and then refine the design further and come up with the next list of questions.
Sounds good.
Well, what do we make people do? Do we want to have a wallet backup section? What do we tell people to do? How does that differ from multi-sig to single sig? You probably don't have that for you only, probably, right? And then do we ask people to do this initial deposit? Do we allow them to skip it? Is there a QR code here? Just quickly go through all of this stuff.
There were, and also with the original GUI, there were 2 warnings for the Encrypt Your Wallet. And I remember when Christoph redesigned it, he changed that into 1 warning. Just basically made it into 1 warning for both.
Yeah. And the thing is, do you do a warning after the fact, or do you just tell people, hey, you can enable this, but make sure you do this and that? Like, the double warning modals is pretty intense. There might be smoother ways to do this.
One way we're already massively improving over the Qt widgets processes, that at least looking at the design, you can go back. So you can't go back on any stage within creating a wallet within the Qt widgets GUI, which is a negative. Yeah, and so you can change your mind at some point and say, oh no, actually I want to do this, and then you go back.
Yeah, and that also sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. You know, after creating a wallet, you can't really go back in, probably.
Yeah,
Or another
I
thing
think
that we were talking about here, creating a wallet. Do we have to? Like, how long does it take? Right, it should be pretty quick. Do we need this overlay? Can we just make that a little bit more elegant? Just small
yeah,
stuff.
depending on the computer, it actually does take like it takes more than a second, right? It takes like a few seconds, and so either it's just, I guess we can kind of go to the next page, right, and have it finish creating in the background, if we don't want to show some window, because it's not like they're going to use it within those 3 seconds where it's creating, because you have to
Yeah.
move through the GUI, you have to go back. So yeah, that's something we could do. On the backup, I think I was reading the design guide, and I think the design guide suggests only after you've received funds to back up. But
Yes, and yeah, I mean, ideally, it can just do auto backup, auto cloud, auto backup for you without having to do anything in the first place. Yeah. No, but yeah, that's also for the daily spending wallet, which is more about small amounts where it's really not a huge deal.
Okay.
Bitcoin Core might warrant a different approach.
Yeah, I would say, like if you're gonna sort of move in large amounts of funds, like you'd want the backup before you move in the funds, because what if you just immediately delete it afterwards,
Yeah, and that's why this backup screen and this, Bitcoin Core can be way more elaborate, because I think there are different expectations.
Okay.
And those are all decisions we should make together. I know Ebasto seems to err more towards the side of caution.
Yeah, he has strong opinions on this, and so hopefully on the next call I'll force him to be here, and he can give his opinions on it.
Yeah, see, Michael, here's an effect of change, of something's changed here. Like this icon is cut off, and the padding here is gone. I think these are effects of messing with the button component. Like that did not used to be so close to the edge. Yeah, so as we change the components in the design system, we have to make sure that things.
So kind of to just touch on next steps as we're getting towards the end of the call. So tomorrow we'll go over this, and then for the next call we'll be able to iterate further on the proxy screens, some of the button states, and so just go for next steps. It's really just tomorrow we'll go over the wallet, and then we'll see from there what needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, the button state stuff, I don't really see it as that super important that you have a whole group of people talk about it for an hour. It's fairly small stuff. We can asynchronously figure out and move on. Because these flows and getting these things right and thinking through the threat model and security and all of the stuff, and learning about each other, how the tech works, all of this stuff, I think that's a good use of this time.
Okay.
I agree with Christoph. Like there was a lot of questions, I think, which he wrote underneath each screen state that we didn't have answers to. So I think it would be nice to just have you answer some of those questions.
Okay, yeah. So I'll look at that, and tomorrow I'll answer all your questions if we have enough time, which we won't. But yeah.
Some are questions, some are design decisions, and anything that's a design decision, we should make sure that we write down somewhere for others to agree or disagree, or at least review, be aware of. Cool. Anything else? Our three silent members here, would you like to chime in with anything?
Joins and Raz and Michael.
It's very hard to hear.
Yeah, I also don't.
Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get a sense of everything before I can pitch in with anything. But looks good. Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
No worries. I'll try to join tomorrow as well, and maybe I can help out.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of screens to design that we have to go through. But I do think once we have kind of the onboarding and the wallet creation and the send stuff figured out, a lot of other things will follow from that. It'll become easier.
So
And
it's
things
basically
will fall more into
onboarding,
place.
and then tomorrow we focus on create wallet, and then we move on to the sends stuff.
Yeah, we could start tomorrow with onboarding. We could look at what we have right now, or
Yeah.
version 1, and how that needs to change roughly,
Yeah.
and then just try to work through those things.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Is there anything specific that I could start doing that nobody's working on yet, or that would be helpful?
How familiar are you with everything that goes on in a wallet like this?
Not sure.
Yeah.
If you ask me how, then it depends on the follow-up question.
Yeah, okay. Because I think one thing, because for example, you could just try to study different types of. I mean, how often, if you've already gone through 20 Bitcoin wallet setups, maybe you're able to have a good sense for it. If you've only gone through 1 or 2, you could try out a few different ones, just kind of feel out how these different things work, and then bring that information and that knowledge in tomorrow. That could be an option, just kind of, diving deep into some of those topics to get hands-on, to actually put screens together. I don't know, it's really open right now. Like you could try to, I think no one has really dealt with address management, transaction screen. There are some of these screens if you really just wanted to dive into something there. Gene has done some of these mock-ups here.
There's things like the address book, but also, we have a layout of the old Qt widgets screens and kind of almost all of the screen states, and then maybe sort of identify from there what's not done, and maybe work on that. But I think Christoph knows more about what needs to be done with the design than I do. Yeah. It seems like joins once.
You can also offline it. There was just a thought. I think for tomorrow I will just go through everything that's in Figma for now, and then we can see, maybe I can also help with documenting some stuff and to get into it slowly.
Yeah, I think tomorrow we'll have a better idea. I hope by tomorrow we can, somebody could just say, well, I'm going to figure out the details of the view-only wallet creation, or I'm just going to write all the copy for these wallet information screens or so, where we'll have more clearly defined bits and pieces. Everything else is really just kind of loose exploration, just kind of see what the current design's like, kind of imitate it in our new style, our new design system, and just kind of see how loosely things could fit together. And for that, you're really welcome to dive into anything, whether somebody has already put something together or not. Doesn't really matter.
Cool. It was a bit hard to know from looking at Figma what is actually has been deprecated, what is still relevant, which parts to look at. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I mean, this V2 wallet page here, these is all the design decisions we've made so far.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. All right.
Oh man.
Okay.
This is just the beginning, this is just the beginning. There's like this iceberg sitting underneath the water, and there's so much. Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff around. There's loose consensus, like the top bar, that probably
Okay.
something that will make it in, but yeah, in terms of the details.
Joins, Joins, did you want to speak?
Joins wanted to speak.
Hey there. Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted Christoph probably would know about this. I have a fondness for contacts and address book related things and Bitcoin applications. So that would be something I would love to explore on the visual side.
Yeah,
Awesome, man.
contacts. That's the only thing that exists right now is address book, right? Which is, where is it? It's in here somewhere.
I'm going to hop off, guys, because my kids will be arriving in a few minutes, and then you'll hear two very energetic girls in the background. So I'll send you that.
All right. See you, Mo.
I'll see you on
Oh, thanks for
the
joining.
call.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you on the community call in a bit. Yeah. All right.
True.
Bye.
Yeah, John's the contact thing. I mean, we'll probably just addresses with labels, right? Initially.
Well, the coin selection stuff as well. That one might be a little more controversial, or have to take some more comments and back and forth. But effectively to be able to do cluster selection by a set of UTXOs that have the same label, as well as like representing them as a contact in both the send and possibly even the receive sections.
Yeah. I mean, feel free to design your ultimate version of this, of what you think would be how this should be done, and then we can discuss it. Because Gerald can implement anything.
Right. Just quickly, this idea of contacts, you don't want to reuse addresses, and so we have an address book manager, and you can give that a label, and so you can give it a human label like Mike, right? But you don't want to continue reusing that address for privacy on chain. And then clustering, technically, you might be able to do that, but you'd want to, or I don't know if you want to look at the code. I can look at the code. If it involves changes to the wallet, then within this repo, we can't do that. If it doesn't involve changes to the wallet, then you're free to design how that might look like.
What does change it to the wallet mean actually?
Yeah, so the GUI, the wallet, and the node are sort of the three main independent areas of the code, right? And so the wallet is this completely different thing. The GUI interfaces with the wallet and the node. And so changes to the node and to the wallet, we don't do within this repo. Mm-hmm. We're just reinventing the GUI from this repo.
Okay. So question. So there's some actions that can be done on the kind of like the GUI side, right? It doesn't need to kind of like be updated on the wallet itself. The storage of it doesn't need to be changed. But would that be fine, or should it just like one map with what's existing in the existing GUI?
Sorry, what was the question again?
Okay, so for example, with clustering, this can be done on the GUI side. For instance, you can just you pull all the addresses, so like everything from the address book, and instead of showing them as individual, you can show them as like any duplicates that they have of labels. You can just decide to say like this is like it looks like a single group, basically.
Right. Yeah. So like manually you can do that clustering yourself right now. So by selecting, so from that screen you see there, you could select it. Yeah. And then if you wanted to make sort of an automatic setting, then yeah, I mean, you can design that. Yeah.
Okay, because that could actually just be done on the UI side. It's just a way in which it's displayed effectively.
Yeah, seems so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Awesome.
I'll
Yeah.
take it into consideration.
Cool.
Awesome,
Thank you
yeah.
for joining on the call.
No worries. Yeah, I've been watching some of the videos anyway.
Cool. I think Jitsi will kick us out here any minute now.
Okay.
So I'll just stop the recording. We can keep chatting. I'll just stop. Thanks for anyone who's still watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, stop now.